United States Aquaculture, the new face of farming. Aquaculture, or fish farming, is the breeding, rearing, and harvesting of aquatic or marine organisms in controlled or selected environments. U.S. aquaculture is a diverse industry. Some farms produce fish and shellfish for human consumption, for stocking sport fishing ponds and streams, and for enhancing wild populations. Other farms produce aquatic plants for food, garden ponds, fish tanks, and even for fuel and medicine. Aquaculture also produces bait fish, cultured pearls, and ornamental fish. Aquaculture isn't new technology, but in the United States, aquaculture hasn't developed as well as it has in other parts of the world. Most early civilizations practiced some form of aquaculture. The ancient Egyptians grew tilapia in ponds. Archaeologists found evidence of these early fish farms in drawings, as decoration on vases, and in legends. The Chinese raised common carp in ponds 2,500 years ago. Later, they began growing silver carp, bighead carp, grass carp, and mud carp all in the same pond. When the fish were raised in the same pond, they complemented each other by eating different types of food and staying in different levels in the pond. Raising different types of organisms in the same environment is called polyculture, and many companies use that strategy today. The ancient Romans fattened oysters that had been shipped from the far reaches of their empire. Many villas had their own saltwater ponds called ostiaria for holding and fattening oysters. The Romans also grew oysters on ropes and poles placed in tidal waters. The young oysters would set on the poles or ropes and grow until harvest. Plans for ancient oyster culture facilities are shown in the diagrams. In 1864, Seth Green began raising trout in his upstate New York hatchery and is considered by many to be the father of U.S. aquaculture. He was so successful that he helped to restock fish across the country. He traveled by train as far as California with his fish in milk cans and even sent trout eggs to England and France. In 1871, Congress took up the cause and created the U.S. Fish Commission. The commission was charged with investigating the decrease in useful fish and finding ways to increase the supply. The vision of Seth Green and other early aquaculture pioneers has not been achieved in the United States for a variety of reasons. The extensive system of rules and regulations designed to ensure the safety, sustainability, and minimal environmental impact of U.S. aquaculture can make U.S. domestic product more expensive than imports. Many consumers are unwilling to pay for these intangible attributes. According to the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, China is by far the world's largest producer of farm-raised fish and shellfish. North America produces only 1.2% of the world's supply of aquaculture products. Remember that North America includes Canada and Mexico in addition to the United States. U.S. farmers and commercial seafood harvesters produce less than 20% of the fish and shellfish that we consume. The other 80% comes from faraway countries. These imports contribute over $10 billion to our annual trade deficit. As Asian economies continue to grow, less fish and shellfish may be available for export. To fill that gap, we need to increase U.S. production. As world population grows, we need to become smarter about our food choices and how we use our resources. The overall environmental impact of aquaculture is lower than raising cattle, pigs, and poultry. Fish process energy more efficiently than mammals and birds because they are cold-blooded and don't need to expend calories trying to keep warm. Fish are truly efficient conversion units. It takes 3 times as much grain to make a pound of pork and 4.5 times as much to make a pound of beef. Most people think only of food fish when they think of aquaculture, but it goes well beyond that simple concept. Ornamental koi, a relative of the common goldfish, can sell for upwards of $10,000 per fish if the coloring and shape meet buyer standards. As the popularity of backyard ponds grows, the demand for live fish increases, and this is a major opportunity for fish farmers. Other types of fin fish are used to control insect populations and weeds in ponds. Some fish are raised for bait and for stocking sport fishing ponds and streams. Farmed fish can be grown simply to increase the size of wild fish populations. Striped bass, rainbow trout, and muskellunge are used for resource enhancement and stocking recreational fishing areas. Mosquito fish feed on mosquito larvae, which makes them an excellent biological control for these pests. Fathead minnows and golden shiners are bait fish. Angelfish and koi are favorites of hobbyists. Clam seed, very small clams, are grown in tanks called upwellers until they are large enough to plant in the bay. Oysters are often cultured on racks. Racks are exposed at low tide to harden the shells and make a better product. Placing the oysters on racks also makes it easier to tend the beds. Shellfish, such as oysters and clams, are often hand-harvested. In addition to marine species, freshwater shrimp, crawfish, and mussels are being grown in the United States. Freshwater mussels are used to produce buttons and similar products. Plant aquaculture is a growing industry. Carrageenan and algin, derived from algae, are used to stabilize products like ice cream. Algae are often used in the production of nutritional supplements. Other types of seaweeds are used in salads and sushi preparations. Pond culture is one of the earliest forms of aquaculture and is still practiced today. Common species raised in ponds include catfish, tilapia, koi, and shrimp. For some species, aeration systems are used to maintain the best possible environments for the fish. In raceways, water flows through the system. These systems are used for fish like trout and salmon that are often found in running streams. Indoor recirculating systems can be housed almost anywhere. Some systems have even been housed in urban buildings or warehouses. To conserve water, water is cleaned and reused in the system. Tilapia, barramundi, and shrimp are often raised in recirculating systems. Recirculating systems are highly dependent upon electrical power and fish feeds. Recirculating systems can be housed outdoors if the climate permits. Since the water is reused, these systems can be located in areas that are not hospitable to other forms of farming. Fish can be raised in suspended cages within a natural body of water. The cages keep the fish contained and make harvesting easy. Tank systems are used to increase the density of the fish being raised. Net pens are simply a larger version of cage culture. Large pens are suspended or anchored in areas where the water circulates freely and where the pens don't conflict with other uses. To help mitigate any environmental impacts, some net pen operations are raising other organisms, such as shellfish or seaweeds, to help remove organic material from the surrounding water. Systems that house several different species with complementary life requirements are sometimes called Integrated Multitropic Aquaculture Production Systems, or IMTA systems. The byproducts of one species are used by shellfish or plants as a form of bioremediation. This helps to maintain environmental balance. Government regulators are studying open ocean aquaculture as an important food production system and as a way to help reduce harvest pressure on wild species. Sturdy cages that can withstand storms and ocean currents are moored far out to sea. Work is currently being conducted on cod, halibut, and flounder, to name just a few species. Scientists monitor activity in the cages via computer. Automatic feeding systems provide just the right amount of food at the right time. These marine farms can help to meet the growing demand for high-quality seafood while conserving wild fishery resources. Open ocean facilities can be co-located with wind farms and other structures. On a worldwide basis, the most common farm-raised fish is the carp. In the United States, popular farm food fish include Atlantic salmon, trout, tilapia, hybrid striped bass, catfish, yellow perch, and red drum. To help ensure the sustainability of some popular species such as tuna, cod, sturgeon, abalone, and halibut, scientists and industry are developing the technology to grow these fish in farming situations. Other species, including barramundi and cobia, are being grown to increase the supply and variety of fish available to consumers. Some shellfish, like clams, oysters, and mussels, are raised along the marine coast, usually on beds leased from the individual states or towns. Oysters can be raised in traditional bottom culture or in floating trays or on racks. Mussels are grown on ropes suspended in the water column. Mussels, clams, and oysters are filter feeders that can actually improve water quality and help ensure the survival of balanced ecosystems. In fact, the contributions of these shellfish are so critical to the environment that many coastal communities have volunteer groups that are planting shellfish. Familiar shellfish species include clams, oysters, and mussels. These shellfish are important in maintaining good water quality. Less familiar shellfish include farmed shrimp, gooey ducks, and abalone. Most U.S. aquaculture operations are small, family-run farms. U.S. growers take pride in their work, and that attention to detail helps to ensure that the product is safe and has been raised in an environmentally sound, sustainable way. Strict regulation by a number of federal agencies helps ensure that United States aquaculture is sustainable and environmentally friendly. States establish additional regulations. However, over 80% of the seafood that we consume in the United States is imported, sometimes from countries that do not have strict environmental and food safety regulations. State and federal regulations cover issues including water quality, wetlands protection, wastewater treatment, water supply, non-native species, fish health, and food safety. Growers themselves often implement additional quality and environmental control standards. By supplementing wild resources, aquaculture provides consumers with fish and shellfish for their dinner while ensuring the sustainability of our natural resources. Production of bait and fish for stocking provides increased recreational opportunities without harming natural fish populations. Growing clams, oysters, and mussels actually improves water quality by filtering algae out of the water and making more oxygen available for other marine organisms. The shells also provide habitats and hiding places for other organisms. This higher level of biodiversity adds to the stability of the environment. Because the eggs of shellfish are carried on the water currents, farm shellfish can reseed natural shellfish beds. Environmental regulations are imposed at the federal, state, and in some cases regional levels to help ensure the health of our waters. Growers often implement additional quality and environmental standards. U.S. aquaculture creates jobs and economic opportunity. It is estimated that for every fish farm job, 4 jobs are generated in the overall economy. Almost all health-related organizations strongly advocate the increased consumption of seafood to maintain good health throughout life. Organizations including the American Heart Association, American Dietetic Association, United States Department of Agriculture, and the Federal Food and Drug Administration recommend consuming 2 seafood meals per week. Currently, the average American eats only 16 pounds of seafood per year, which is less than half of the recommended amount. On a worldwide basis, the average annual per capita consumption is 37 pounds. The growth of U.S. aquaculture provides a variety of positive benefits. U.S. aquaculture provides great tasting, high quality, and wholesome, affordable food for consumers. Aquaculture provides fish for stocking and bait, and ornamental fish for backyard ponds and fish tanks. U.S. aquaculture provides economic growth. It is estimated that for every fish farm job, 4 additional jobs are generated, and that for every $1 in farm gate value, $6 are generated in the economy at large. Because fish farm jobs are diverse, they provide opportunities at a variety of skill levels. Another important point is that fish farms are often located in economically challenged areas. Dollars earned in the aquaculture industry are spent in local gas stations, restaurants, and stores, helping to boost the overall economy. Taxes generated help to support local schools, hospitals, and other community resources. The growth of U.S. aquaculture can add much to the quality of life. It will increase the availability of food fish and shellfish for both consumption and stocking recreational waters, add to the supply of bait, and provide ornamentals for home and backyard hobbyists. The U.S. industry works closely with federal and state authorities to help ensure that U.S. aquaculture is safe, sustainable, and environmentally sound. The National Aquaculture Association is a non-profit trade association representing U.S. fish and shellfish producers. The association unifies a diverse industry to serve three primary goals: to serve as one voice, one industry on national issues, to provide information on issues that impact the industry, and to increase the demand for U.S. farm-raised seafood. If you have additional questions about the U.S. aquaculture industry or U.S. farm-raised seafood, please contact the National Aquaculture Association.